The morning at Owings Mills was gray and drizzly, the kind of day that makes the turf slick and every movement a little more unpredictable. The Ravens were in the midst of practice, the usual hum of drills and calls cutting through the mist, when suddenly, the eyes of everyone on the field turned toward Lamar Jackson. He had just been involved in a play that seemed routine at first, a collapse in the pocket, a tangle of bodies. But then something happened that made the air shift, that made the chatter on the sidelines turn into quiet murmurs. Lamar was on the ground, momentarily paused, and then helped up. He flexed his wrists, his arms moving in small rotations, trying to shake off what had clearly been an impact, before heading off the field toward the training staff. For anyone watching, it was hard to gauge the severity in that split second. Lamar, a quarterback known for his elusiveness, his ability to escape pressure and extend plays beyond what seems humanly possible, appeared slightly off, though not dramatically. His walk was measured, cautious, almost like a careful dance around the potential for pain, yet not an obvious limp, not the kind that screams injury. The staff surrounded him quickly, and for a moment, the practice felt suspended, like the fog itself had paused to observe what was happening. The speculation started immediately, whispers of concern mixing with the drizzle, but the official report would later clarify that Lamar had been stepped on, nothing more. Still, anyone who has followed football long enough knows that even a simple step can produce a ripple effect in a player's mechanics. Watching him before the incident, Lamar had been sharp. The throws were fluid, the connection with his receivers rhythmic. You could see the chemistry he's built over seasons, the intuitive timing between him and the likes of his young wideouts. Even in the drizzle, the ball flew where it needed to go, spiraling cleanly downfield, hitting hands with precision. He was moving in and out of the pocket, his body coiling and uncoiling like a spring ready to release, his legs churning to keep defenders at bay. The day had a normal rhythm, warm-ups, structured drills, offensive and defensive periods, all designed to stress the system, to test responses under pressure, yet there was a certain poetry in how Lamar orchestrated the offense, even if it was practice and even if the stakes weren't yet real. Then came that moment at the end of the final ball period. Something shifted. Throws that had been crisp started to float, a little off the mark, a little unusual. One pass to Leone Wester, a sideline route that should have been textbook, seemed slightly awkward in its release, the kind of throw that makes coaches tilt their heads just a fraction, wondering what had changed. Another pass sailed over Charlie Kolar, missing Zay Flowers entirely, and it became evident that Lamar's mechanics had been affected by whatever had just happened. A sidearm release to Justice Hill went into the dirt, a throw he could normally execute in his sleep. Observers who knew Lamar well exchanged looks. This wasn't the Lamar Jackson they expected, but context matters. The step, the rain, the subtle shift in footing, and the intensity of the drills could all contribute. As he walked off the field, wrapped in the guidance of strength and conditioning staff, it became a moment of curiosity. Jersey numbers, which normally make identifying players second nature, seemed muted in his purple-on-purple ensemble, creating a slight visual ambiguity. From afar, one could mistake him for someone else, a subtle trick of perception, but anyone paying attention could pick up the nuances, the way he carried himself, the motion of his arms, the rhythm of his step. He wasn't sprinting, wasn't limping noticeably, but there was a difference in his gait, an adjustment, a subtle hint that something had interrupted the normal cadence of his movement. The Ravens' official stance was reassuring, stepped on, fine. But as any athlete or coach knows, fine can encompass a wide spectrum, especially for a quarterback whose game relies on every inch of mobility, every ounce of arm strength. Foot injuries, wrist tweaks, contusions, all could be lurking under that simple explanation. Stepping on someone's foot might bruise, might twist an ankle slightly, might irritate a tendon that doesn't feel quite right in the heat of practice. For a player like Lamar Jackson, whose value is in his explosiveness and improvisational genius, even a minor hindrance in the foot or wrist can ripple through timing, accuracy, and confidence. Behind the scenes, teammates offered their perspectives. Some hadn't seen the play directly, others assumed it was minor, maybe just a precautionary pause. There was optimism, yes, but also the undeniable tension that accompanies watching a franchise quarterback navigate the edge of physical limits. Fans online speculated, social media igniting with theories ranging from minor annoyance to catastrophic injury, each post adding to the cloud of concern. In reality, the truth is often more nuanced. He could have been off balance, compensating for a twinge in the wrist, testing the durability of the ankle, or merely adjusting to the sudden impact of a misstep in a practice drill. And yet, practice had begun in earnest before this incident, and Lamar had been sharp. Drills were flowing, his arm was on target, and the interplay with his receivers was evident. The young guys like TZ Walker were catching passes with confidence, running routes with precision, and showing the progress made over the offseason. Watching Lamar connect with these receivers, you saw the subtle artistry of football, the timing, the acceleration, the deception of movements that make defenders hesitate. He wasn't just throwing the ball. He was orchestrating the entire rhythm of the field, a conductor of chaos who can bend defenses without breaking a sweat. When considering quarterback mechanics, even slight deviations in throws or foot placement can signal larger implications. The difference between a deep pass sailing accurately and one that drifts is often just a millisecond of motion, a fraction of a second in the release. But for those watching closely, it tells a story. Lamar's throws after being stepped on reflected that, slightly off, slightly awkward, but still containing the potential brilliance that defines his style. Observers familiar with human movement and sports performance can see these things: the rotation of the wrist, the extension of the elbow, the slight lean in the torso, and understand how an external factor, even something as seemingly minor as a step, can change the entire execution. Yet there was also the strategic side. Lamar Jackson isn't one to be conservative by nature. He experiments in practice, pushing limits, trying new releases, testing different routes, stretching the bounds of what works in live situations without risking the high stakes of a real game. This is part of growth, part of preparation, and part of understanding how to handle the variables of a dynamic game environment. It explains some of the off-target throws witnessed that day. It's not failure, it's development, trial under pressure, a quarterback fine-tuning his instincts and adjusting to real-time variables. Still, there is a nervous edge when watching a player of his caliber leave the field early. Fans, teammates, coaches, and commentators alike hold their breath in those moments, recognizing that even the smallest hint of trouble can have outsized implications for the season ahead. Lamar Jackson's value isn't just in his arm. It's in his mobility, his creativity, his uncanny ability to escape defenders and turn seemingly impossible plays into first downs and touchdowns. Any threat, no matter how minor it seems in a report or statement, can create ripples in preparation, rhythm, and the psychology of a team. From the vantage point of those observing, there's a mixture of reassurance and apprehension. The official narrative says it was a step, nothing more, but the reality is always layered. There's the immediate physical aspect, the arm, the wrist, the foot, and there's the intangible, the subtle shift in confidence or timing that comes with feeling momentarily off. Lamar, as ever, walked through it with composure, supported by his staff, evaluating the impact in real time. The day didn't stop. Practice continued around him. The rhythm of drills persisted, the offense ran its sequences, and the defensive unit continued its disruptions. Yet all eyes, even peripherally, tracked the quarterback whose presence defines the entire operation. And beyond the physical, there's the mental. Lamar Jackson's approach to adversity, to minor setbacks, to unpredictable impacts in practice, is as important as his arm strength or sprint speed. Observers saw flashes of that mental resilience even as throws became a little off target. The quarterback's capacity to recalibrate mid-drill, to assess the field, to decide whether a pass is worth attempting or whether to tuck and run, is part of what makes him special. In that drizzle-laden practice, you could see the mechanics of brilliance mingled with the human element of caution. Every quarterback in the league faces moments like this, but few navigate them with the combination of skill, improvisation, and visibility that Lamar commands. The implications extend beyond a single session. They affect chemistry with receivers, timing with the offensive line, and ultimately the confidence of the team. And in a sport defined by inches and split seconds, even minor deviations can create cascading effects on game day. Watching Lamar Jackson after being stepped on, even for a brief moment, gives a window into the fragile equilibrium of preparation. The delicate balance of physical readiness, mental acuity, and strategic foresight required to lead a team effectively. As the practice pressed on, attention naturally shifted to the rest of the quarterback room. Cooper Rush, the backup, took reps under the glaring scrutiny of coaches and teammates, and it was clear that today was one of those sessions where rhythm was elusive. Watching him, you could see flashes of talent. His arm has zip, he understands spacing, he knows the progression reads. But there's an undeniable difference between timing in practice and the flow required under real game pressure. Throws that should have been routine occasionally floated slightly or arrived a fraction late, forcing receivers to adjust mid-stride. The subtle imperfections are what separate a player who can step in seamlessly at the NFL level from one still refining his craft. Backup quarterbacks are a unique breed in the NFL. They have to be prepared for any scenario. Yet often their evaluation comes in these controlled environments where mistakes are amplified. Cooper Rush, in particular, had to negotiate the balance between demonstrating competence and not overextending beyond his comfort zone. Every throw, every decision was being scrutinized, not only for accuracy but for mechanics, for situational awareness, for the ability to handle the Ravens' complex offensive schemes. He was working against defenders who, while practicing, were capable of fully simulating the chaos of an actual game. The pocket would collapse just enough to create tension, defensive backs would shift unpredictably, and receivers would break routes with micro-adjustments. It's here, in the controlled chaos of practice, that the nuances of preparation become most visible. Meanwhile, the young receivers were absorbing every lesson, every split-second decision, and the chemistry between Lamar and his top targets was juxtaposed against the learning curve of the rest of the room. TZ Walker, in particular, was showing the kind of growth that had fans and coaches buzzing in the offseason. The preseason games had already offered glimpses of his potential, but it's the consistency in these daily sessions, the refinement of route precision, the ability to track deep balls even in adverse weather, that paints the real picture. Walker's ability to catch Lamar's passes in stride, to anticipate the timing, and to adjust for weather or defensive positioning is exactly what allows a young receiver to evolve from a prospect into a reliable weapon. Watching him execute routes in the drizzle, securing the ball without hesitation, gives a sense of how much confidence the quarterback has in him. A confidence that, in turn, allows Lamar to expand his playbook and attempt throws he might otherwise hesitate to make. At the same time, there's the ongoing mental chess of practice. Every QB, every receiver, every coach is constantly processing variables. The wind, the turf, defensive stunts, timing of snaps, play call adjustments. Lamar's off-target throws after the incident earlier were a subtle reminder that even elite athletes must recalibrate constantly. He might have been compensating for a minor wrist soreness or just recalculating angles in less than ideal conditions. But every adjustment is a microcosm of the NFL experience. The blend of physical execution and mental acuity that separates greatness from mediocrity. You see, football is a game of layers. It's not just X's and O's. It's the tiny microsecond decisions, the body mechanics, the feedback loops between quarterback and receiver, the split-second recognition of defensive intent. Lamar excels here because he processes all these inputs faster than almost anyone else in the league. Even when he appears off, he's still operating at a level that few others can match. The dynamic between Lamar and his receivers is something that evolves with every practice, and it's impossible to overstate its importance. Every handoff, every throw, every adjustment to a route or a read solidifies the trust and understanding needed on game day. Lamar's mobility allows him to manipulate defenses, to force defenders into challenging choices, to create windows that most quarterbacks could never see. When he connects with a target like TZ Walker or Leone Wester, it's not just about arm strength. It's about timing, anticipation, and subtle cues, a shift of weight, a glance, a drop of the shoulder. These connections are built over countless repetitions, many of which occur in the relative anonymity of practice, away from the bright lights of stadiums and broadcast cameras. Yet the practice environment also reveals vulnerabilities. Cooper Rush, as the secondary option, is navigating the delicate balance between opportunity and risk. Every misstep, every errant throw, becomes fodder for evaluation, both from the coaching staff and from those analyzing performance at a granular level. But these moments also serve a purpose. They're teaching moments, chances to refine footwork, timing, and decision-making. In the NFL, backups are not merely placeholders. They are insurance policies, and often the difference between a team staying competitive and a season unraveling. Watching Cooper handle these reps, seeing the struggle and occasional brilliance, provides insight into how the Ravens are preparing for contingencies, how they are layering experience and exposure so that the team as a whole can adapt if circumstances demand it. Meanwhile, Lamar Jackson continues to be a study in resilience. He's the player who can suffer a minor setback, a step on the foot, a twist of the wrist, and still maintain the mental edge required to command a complex offense. His ability to process the defense, to anticipate reads, to manipulate coverage, all while managing his own physical state, exemplifies why he's regarded as one of the league's elite quarterbacks. Even in the moments immediately following the minor injury, as he returned to drills in a limited capacity, he was assessing angles, measuring defensive stances, and executing throws with that unique combination of velocity and arc that has become his signature. The mental recovery is just as critical as the physical, and Lamar has repeatedly demonstrated an almost unmatched capacity to stay composed, to recalibrate, and to keep the team moving forward. The coaching staff plays a crucial role in this ecosystem. Todd Monken's approach, emphasizing both controlled aggression and situational awareness, allows Lamar to experiment within safe boundaries. By pushing Lamar to test different throws, to attempt slightly unconventional plays, and to expand his read and react skills in practice, the coaches are ensuring that he is prepared for the unpredictability of live games. These moments, where practice deviates from perfection, are deliberate. They simulate adversity and force the quarterback to adapt. Lamar's off-target passes are not failures. They are data points, building the framework for the decisions he will make under pressure when every choice carries immediate consequences. Off the field, the dialogue among teammates is equally important. Receivers talk through routes, quarterbacks discuss mechanics, and trainers assess subtle adjustments in motion. In a team like the Ravens, where the offense depends heavily on timing, improvisation, and chemistry, these conversations are the invisible scaffolding supporting the visible action on the turf. Even minor tweaks, a slightly altered route, a small adjustment to a release angle, can cascade into improved execution, making the difference between a completed pass and a turnover. Lamar's attention to these details, his ability to integrate feedback, and his responsiveness to real-time conditions highlight why he has maintained elite performance levels despite the constant physical and mental demands of the sport. Even as observers analyze the situation, noting the subtle difference in throws post-incident, it's clear that Lamar is thinking beyond each individual play. He's considering spacing, coverage tendencies, defender reactions, and receiver adjustments simultaneously. The mental load on an NFL quarterback is staggering, yet Lamar carries it with fluidity, almost invisibly, weaving instinct, experience, and preparation into every throw. The minor setback at practice, a step, a jolt, was merely a small wrinkle in this larger pattern of mastery, a moment that temporarily altered mechanics but did not disrupt the overarching command of the offense. The interplay between quarterbacks in practice, the starter and the backup, provides a fascinating microcosm of professional football preparation. Lamar Jackson's fluidity and resilience contrast with Cooper Rush's controlled caution and incremental learning, showcasing the layered nature of quarterback development. Each rep, each misfire, each adjustment and timing contributes to a broader understanding of the game, a refinement of instinct, and the continual building of trust between players and coaches. It's this ecosystem of skill, mental acuity, and preparation that allows a team to weather the unpredictability of an NFL season. And the receivers themselves are integral in this narrative. Players like T.Z. Walker, Justice Hill, and Leone Wester are not passive participants. They respond dynamically, adjust to minor inconsistencies, and provide the feedback loop Lamar relies upon. Their ability to track the ball, to adjust mid-route, to catch under imperfect conditions, all feeds back into Lamar's decision-making process. This synergy is vital for an offense that thrives on improvisation, agility, and split-second choices. Watching it unfold in practice offers a rare glimpse into the precision and complexity that underpin what may appear on game day as instinctual brilliance. Practice, even under gray skies and drizzle, is where these stories are written. The small victories, the minor missteps, the adaptive learning, they all contribute to a quarterback's development and a team's cohesion. Lamar Jackson's early exit was a headline, but the larger narrative is in the patterns, the adjustments, the resilience, and the growth that occur daily on the field. Every subtle nuance, each throw slightly off, each route perfectly adjusted, each decision made under physical stress, adds to the rich tapestry of preparation that defines elite NFL performance. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. Whispers have been circulating in the football world all week, but now it seems the rumors are hard to ignore. Bo Nix, the highly touted quarterback who once lit up the field with his electric plays and undeniable leadership at the collegiate level, has reportedly been signed by the Baltimore Ravens. Sources close to the team hint that this move could signal a dramatic shift in the Ravens' strategy for the upcoming season, a bold gamble that has fans and pundits buzzing with speculation. The Broncos, who previously held Nix's contract, are said to have agreed to terms after lengthy negotiations that included multiple clauses and performance incentives. While the Ravens have been tight-lipped about official confirmations, insiders suggest that the organization views Nix as a potential game-changer, a quarterback who could revitalize a roster hungry for consistency and long-awaited playoff success. This signing, if finalized, may not only reshape the Ravens' offense, but also send shockwaves throughout the league, prompting rival teams to reassess their own quarterback situations. Analysts are already dissecting Nix's past performances, from his precision passes to his knack for escaping pressure, debating how those skills will translate to a team renowned for its aggressive defense and high expectations from both fans and ownership. The intrigue surrounding this acquisition is palpable, and speculation is mounting as experts consider the possible ripple effects of this controversial, headline-grabbing maneuver. The impact of Bo Nix joining the Ravens extends far beyond the mere addition of a talented quarterback. It introduces a new dynamic into a franchise long defined by its defensive prowess and methodical offensive approach. Conversations among commentators, former players, and social media circles are increasingly fixated on how the Ravens will integrate Nix into their existing system, particularly considering the unique coaching philosophies that have historically shaped the team's playbook. Rumors suggest that coaches are contemplating a hybrid scheme, one that leverages Nix's mobility and strong arm while maintaining the balance and structure that have defined Baltimore football for decades. Fans are already imagining scenarios in which Nix could lead game-winning drives, connect with dynamic receivers, and spark an offense that has sometimes struggled to find rhythm in critical moments. Meanwhile, internal discussions reportedly revolve around grooming Nix not only as a starter, but also as a leader, someone capable of rallying teammates through adversity and commanding the locker room with the charisma he exhibited in college. Speculative chatter includes potential matchups where Nix's performance could alter the trajectory of divisional rivalries, intensifying already heated competitions within the AFC. Betting lines and fantasy projections are rumored to be adjusting in response to this news, adding another layer of frenzy as enthusiasts attempt to forecast the tangible impact of Nix's presence. The story continues to unfold, creating an atmosphere thick with anticipation and conjecture, as analysts and fans alike wait to see whether the buzz surrounding Bo Nix will translate into on-field brilliance or simply remain a tantalizing rumor that fuels endless debate. Amidst this swirling speculation, attention is increasingly focused on the Broncos, who, according to insiders, reluctantly agreed to release Nix to the Ravens, recognizing both the financial and strategic implications of such a high-profile trade. Sources suggest that discussions were tense, with executives meticulously weighing the potential benefits against the risks of losing a quarterback whose potential still carries significant upside. Rumors indicate that negotiations involved intricate contract stipulations, performance-based incentives, and even options for future trades, highlighting just how valuable Nix is perceived within league circles. Fans of the Broncos have reportedly expressed mixed reactions online, some lamenting the departure of a promising talent, others acknowledging the logic behind letting a player thrive elsewhere. Social media speculation has reached a fever pitch, with debates about Nix's adaptability, chemistry with new teammates, and readiness to thrive in a high-pressure environment dominating comment threads. League insiders hint that the Ravens' front office acted swiftly, anticipating rival interest and moving decisively to secure the quarterback before any competing offers could materialize. The move is being dissected on sports talk shows, podcasts, and fan forums alike, with endless conjecture about whether Nix will be a seamless fit or if the transition will require a period of adjustment. Every tweet, leak, and off-the-record remark seems to fuel the rumor mill further, making the signing of Bo Nix by the Ravens a topic impossible to ignore in contemporary sports discourse, as fans everywhere debate the potential ramifications for both franchises. Speculation regarding Bo Nix's future contributions to the Ravens is now a central topic among NFL enthusiasts, with analysts dissecting every possible scenario in which he could influence the team's trajectory. Rumors suggest that Nix's mobility and versatility might inspire play-calling innovations, with coaches potentially experimenting with quarterback options, rollouts, and designed run-pass sequences to maximize his strengths. Conversations within insider circles hint at an excitement previously reserved for blockbuster trades or unexpected free agent acquisitions, as observers try to project whether Nix could become a franchise quarterback or serve as a transitional figure while the Ravens continue to refine their long-term vision. Social media commentary is rife with speculation on chemistry with key wide receivers, timing with the offensive line, and how the team's running game might adapt to complement Nix's skill set. Even casual fans have latched onto the rumor, debating whether this move signals a larger shift in the Ravens' philosophy or is merely an experimental gambit. The football community seems captivated by the notion that a single-player acquisition could shift power dynamics in the AFC, igniting new rivalries, reshaping playoff expectations, and influencing league-wide strategies. Analysts continue to speculate on potential outcomes, imagining scenarios where Nix's leadership could spark winning streaks or, alternatively, where adjustment periods might test the Ravens' patience. Each week brings fresh rumors, insider hints, and strategic conjecture, making the narrative surrounding Bo Nix's move one of the most discussed storylines in professional football this season. Amid this whirlwind of speculation and anticipation, the narrative surrounding Bo Nix's rumored arrival at the Ravens continues to captivate fans, analysts, and league insiders alike. The persistent chatter suggests that, beyond the on-field implications, Nix's presence could transform locker room dynamics, infusing a fresh energy into a team known for its disciplined culture and tactical precision. Rumors indicate that veteran players are curious about how Nix will integrate socially and professionally, with informal reports hinting at early team-building exercises and mentorship discussions aimed at facilitating his transition. Observers speculate that the Ravens may be positioning themselves to capitalize on Nix's combination of experience, athleticism, and leadership, potentially redefining offensive strategies. And game day decision-making. The ongoing buzz has created a media frenzy, with sports networks devoting segments to analyzing potential matchups, offensive adjustments, and the psychological impact of a high-profile acquisition on the team's morale. Betting markets are reportedly adjusting odds based on Nix's rumored signing, signaling that even financial analysts recognize the possible ramifications. Meanwhile, fans speculate endlessly on forums, envisioning highlight reel plays, clutch game-winning drives, and the potential emergence of a quarterback capable of cementing the Ravens' legacy for years to come. As whispers persist and speculation grows, one thing is clear. The football world is engrossed in the narrative of Bo Nix, a storyline that promises to dominate headlines, fan discussions, and league analysis well into the season, whether on-field success follows immediately or the saga continues to unfold as a tantalizing rumor. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.